April 1st, April Fool's Day, and with Justin Trudeau and the NDP, the joke is on you. Over there's the countdown. You see it? Time left until Justin Trudeau's April Fool's Day tax increase. 23% hike coming to your gas, your heat, your groceries, everything set to go up. It is a tax on every single thing you buy. If it goes in a truck, or a train, if it has to be heated in a warehouse or transported, if it has to be transported around the country, axe the tax, 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 axe the tax. Now, we know everything Trudeau has said about the carbon tax has so far been false. Remember when he said it would make you better off? He said there'd be this rinky-dink little check you'd get in the mail that would make it all right. Well, we have here, is Kathy Katula here? Kathy, that's you. Come on over here. Can I say hello to you? Come over here there. Kathy, you remember when Justin Trudeau saw you at a town hall meeting and you were telling him how expensive it was to heat your home? And he said his carbon tax was going to make it all better, didn't he?
It was nothing but a photo op.
And he gave you a big hug and he cried, a little tear went down his face, right?
Yeah, he told me to focus on spoiling my grandkids. I haven't been able to visit them in 3 years because his carbon tax cost me over $200 a month. Axe the tax.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Kathy. Axe the tax. Yeah, Trudeau said, don't worry, this carbon tax will make you better off. He gave you a big hug in front of the cameras. It was a big warm hug, but not warm enough to heat the home in the winter in Canada. No, you actually need natural gas to do that in most places. And the tax on that gas is going to be going up by almost a full quarter, 23%, which will mean hundreds of dollars more in cost for families like Kathy. Now remember, he told us that he would give you all the money back and more. That it would be, it was like that uncle who sends you an email from a faraway country claiming that you don't know who he is, but he's going to pass away soon and he wants to bequeath you $1 million. You just need to give him your credit card and password and he'll deposit into your account, right? One of these scams. That's the Trudeau tax scam. So I brought some bills here today to shed light on the Trudeau scam. Because here are the facts about the Trudeau tax. Here are the facts. Axe the tax. Here, let me look at the data for Ontario. Trudeau's plan is to more than quadruple the carbon tax, up to 61 cents a litre, and at a proportional hike on your home heating and on everything shipped to you. According to the parliamentary budget officer, when this tax and the second carbon tax combine to take full effect, as they will over the next 5 years, should God forbid he be re-elected, the total cost to an average family in Ontario will be $4,078 in carbon taxes. Almost 3 times what the rebate is promised to be, and that assumes he keeps his promises about these phony rebates. So we know that everybody is going to be much worse off as a result of the carbon tax. Let's go through the many ways this is the case. First of all, there's the direct cost. For the single mom who's trying to take her kids to sports and to school in the morning, who has to drive herself to work, she has no choice. There isn't an electrified train to take her. She can't ride her bicycle 40 kilometers every single day to get to the restaurant where she serves her customers. She will be paying higher direct costs. But then there are the indirect costs. See, Trudeau said, oh, on the face of it, you're all better off. Forgetting that when you attack the cost of energy, everything else goes up with a cascading increase. Let's move on to the cost of food. So I have here, this is actually an Enbridge bill from constituents of mine. They're the Madero's mushroom farmers. They produce most of the mushrooms in Eastern Ontario. Their carbon tax bill for 1 month was $21,620. 1 month. Trudeau intends to quadruple that carbon tax to over $80,000 in 1 month. Then, that's he literally taxes the energy that they pump into their mushroom chambers, and then the drying cost and the heating cost, and then there's the trucking cost in order to take the mushrooms from the farm over to the wholesaler, which has to be heated, where it's taxed again. And then it goes from the wholesaler all the way over to the retailer. And in those big Costco facilities or even the small grocery stores, they have to heat the place. That all becomes more expensive. So by the time you buy your mushroom, it has been taxed by Trudeau and the NDP 5 or 6 times. You can imagine why this cascading effect drives up the cost of food. And then there's beef. Well, they want to ban you from eating beef, of course. Think about that. They want to carbon tax the farmer who makes the grains. Those grains then have to be dried, so they tax the dry heating from natural gas that's used to turn that grain dry. That grain is then turned into feed, and then it has to be transported over to the farms where there are feedlots. And then the buying farmer who buys that grain for feed, he has to pay the carbon tax. And then when he takes his cattle to the slaughterhouse, that transportation is carbon taxed again. And then the slaughterhouse has to pay the tax. And then the final cut meat has to be transported when it is carbon taxed again. And so there is a cascading tax again and again. And by the time, God forbid, that you might have a steak on your plate, just once a year, which is all many people can afford, you have 8 or 9 separate carbon taxes baked into or grilled in to that same piece of meat. This is a tax. And so what is he? Let me tell you how insane this is. I have a little farm in my riding called Sun Tech Tomatoes. They produce the little miracles of Manotick. Trudeau's carbon tax applies on the CO2 they release into the greenhouse, even though that CO2 doesn't go into the atmosphere. It's absorbed by the plant life. That's the point. Apparently, Trudeau missed that day in science class. So the end result is that it's more expensive to buy a Manotick tomato in Manotick than a Mexican tomato in Manotick. So we send a price signal to our customers to buy the foreign and more polluting tomato that had to be transported, burning fossil fuels, by truck and train all across North America, instead of buying the more environmentally responsible tomato from the local producer in your neighborhood. Common sense conservatives will not just axe the tax, we will repatriate farm production to our country so that we can feed our people and stand on our feet. Bring it home!